Nina was a curious and inventive 9-year-old girl with big round glasses, puffy curly hair, and a backpack full of strange tools and snacks. Her treehouse looked like a cross between a spaceship and a snack shack. It had wine chimes made of forks, a pulley system for delivering juice boxes, and a giant button labeled "Do not press unless you have snacks." She spent most of her afternoons tinkering with odd inventions, including the current pride of her collection, a snack-launching sandwich cannon. It was meant to shoot sandwiches directly into your mouth, but so far, it had only managed to fire mustard onto the walls. Buzzing beside her was Bumble, a chubby, yellow and black, striped talking bee with tiny goggles always slightly askew. Bumble loved inventing things almost as much as Nina did, but he was terribly afraid of flying too high. He often hovered just above the ground, pretending it was intentional. Today, he was flapping around holding a blueprint upside down, insisting that he knew exactly how to fix the sandwich cannon. "You see," he buzzed, pointing to a scribble that looked more like a cheese doodle than a technical drawing. "If we increase the peanut butter pressure by 300%. But Nina barely had time to respond before the sky above the treehouse shimmered green and pink like cotton candy in a lava lamp. A gentle hum filled the air, and then, with a soft plop, a glowing blob floated down from the sky and landed smack in the middle of the hammock, which stretched and swayed under its jelly-like weight. It was Togo. Togo was a floating jellyfish-like creature from space, with a translucent body that glowed with shifting shades of blue. His tentacles sparkled like glow sticks, and every time he giggled, it sounded like bubbles popping in a bathtub. He had wide, blinking eyes, each one flashing a different shade when he felt something: curiosity, happiness, hunger. He held something in one of his tentacles, a sandwich. But not just any sandwich. It sparkled, it floated, and it gave off the smell of every delicious food Nina had ever loved. Fresh popcorn, grilled cheese, chocolate chip cookies, and pickles. Yes, somehow pickles too. Bumble gasped and promptly flew into the toolbox, knocking over a wrench and a jar of jelly beans. Nina just stared, jaw dropped. Togo blinked, his eyes flashing purple and green. He spoke in a series of musical beeps and sparkles, which Nina somehow understood with the help of her gadget glasses. Togo explained that the sandwich was no ordinary snack. It was a starlight sandwich, the energy core of his spaceship. While cruising through the Milky Way, he had taken a tiny nibble because he was curious, and it had caused his spaceship to lose power and crash land in Nina's garden. Worse still, the sandwich had split into 3 glowing pieces, and without all 3, Togo couldn't get home. He had landed safely, but the clock was ticking. If they didn't find the sandwich pieces before sunset, Togo would miss the wave of starlight energy that passed Earth only once every 100 years. Nina's eyes sparkled behind her glasses. "We're going on a snack hunt space rescue mission," she declared, already reaching for her backpack. Bumble groaned from inside the toolbox. "Why is it always us?" Their first clue came from the glowing crumbs that led them past the swing set, under the garden hose loop, and straight to the neighbor's yard. There, on top of the trampoline, sat a suspiciously bouncy squirrel named Twitchy. Twitchy was known for hoarding shiny things and snacks. He'd mistaken the glowing sandwich piece for some kind of holy nut and had stuffed it deep into his bouncing stash. To retrieve it, Nina challenged Twitchy to a nut challenge game. They had to bounce the highest while juggling peanut butter crackers. Twitchy was agile, but Nina had a secret weapon: her peanut butter slingshot gloves. With each bounce, she fired globs of peanut butter that stuck Twitchy's tail to the trampoline, giving her just enough time to snatch the sandwich piece and do a double backflip onto the grass. Twitchy squeaked in protest, but Bumble buzzed a quick apology and tossed him a trail mix bar for his troubles. With one sandwich piece glowing in Togo's tentacle, they zipped off on Bumble's hover scooter, an invention he'd built but was too nervous to test until now. It wobbled like a jelly bean on stilts, but it got them to the next clue, the school's jungle gym. The second sandwich piece was lodged at the very top, stuck between two metal bars where only the bravest dared to climb. Bumble's wings trembled just looking at it. "No way I'm going up there," he buzzed. Nina nodded. She strapped on her climbing gloves and started the ascent. Togo floating beside her, offering glowy encouragement symbols. Hearts, stars, even a little sparkly thumbs up. Halfway up, a sudden wind gust blew through, sending her teetering. But Nina didn't panic. She pulled out her licorice lasso, a prototype from her snack safety series, and whipped it around the bar. It stuck with a satisfying schloop, anchoring her just long enough to grab the sandwich piece with her free hand. She slid down triumphantly, landing in a crouch. 2 down, 1 to go. The third and final piece was the trickiest. According to Togo's blinks and bubbles, it had landed in the nearby pond, a place Nina had only visited during science class field trips. This time, they couldn't use the scooter. Instead, Nina activated the snackapult, a spring-loaded launcher that flung them through the air on a trail of popcorn kernels. They landed with a giant splorp near the edge of the pond, startling a frog in sunglasses and a duck running a sandwich stand. They discovered that the sandwich piece had sunk into the pond but had been recovered by Queen Ribitina, the frog queen of the lily pad kingdom. She was wearing a crown made of soda can taps and ruled from a throne of mossy stone. To earn back the sandwich piece, they had to participate in the Royal Pond Games. The games were unlike anything Nina or Bumble had faced before, leaping across lily pads while balancing grapes on their heads, catching glowing bugs in mid-air, and performing a synchronized bubble-blowing dance routine. Togo was a natural at the bubbles. Bumble struggled but finally found his rhythm. Nina, determined and clever as ever, figured out that frog judges loved glitter, so she slipped glitter confetti into her bubble mixture. They won by a frog hair, and Queen Ribitina presented the final sandwich piece, now slightly soggy but still radiating space energy. With all 3 pieces glowing in Togo's tentacles, they raced back to the treehouse. The spaceship, a shimmering floating bubble blimp, was flickering weakly. Nina handed over the final sandwich chunk, and as soon as Togo touched all 3 together, the sandwich hummed, spun, and hovered in mid-air before dissolving into a beam of rainbow energy that surged into the ship. The bubble blimp inflated with new life, pulsing in time with the rising stars. Togo floated up to them, his tentacles shimmering with gratitude. He gave Nina and Bumble each a sparkly high five and let out a series of bubbly giggles. Then, with a swirl of sparkles and a final beep that sounded suspiciously like "thank you," Togo rose into the night sky, leaving behind a trail of glittering crumbs and a note that read, "Next time you visit me," Bumble blinked. "You think space has snacks?" Nina grinned and pulled her goggles down over her eyes. Only one way to find out. The treehouse blinked with lights. The stars above twinkled like they were winking. And in the garden below, one little squirrel bounced on a trampoline, still trying to master peanut butter juggling. The adventure wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Like, subscribe, and share.